9:30 on the clock. It's time for Market Fatafat, your daily dose of all the big movers and shakers today in trade. I'm Mubina Kapasi. Markets holding steady, of course, off the day's high, but still about 10,800. We're gaining about 0.3%. The Sensex too is gaining. The broader markets, however, are a bit lackluster. But let's kickstart the show by telling you all the stocks we are watching out for. To do that, we have our research analyst, as well as on the technicals, Kunal Bothra is always joining in, and along with him is Gaurav Ratnaparki from Share Khan. So good morning to all of you. Thanks for joining in. And let's start with the very first stock on our radar, and it's got to be Tata Steel. Two factors really affecting this company. First is, of course, something that would affect the generic metals theme, and that is progress on the US-China trade talks front. Do remember that any sort of positive news that could come out from there would positively impact metal stocks. However, at this point of time, I think the stock is reacting more so to the Q3 sales slump. While the production number has been pretty decent, the standalone sales as well as the European sales volumes have declined, and they have not really, gone down well with the street. So standalone sales is down 10%, European sales are down 6%. Moreover, a very important news piece from Tata Steel is, according to reports, the company is said to be in talks to sell its South Asian assets to China's Haze Steel. This is very, very important. It clearly means that they want to now focus only on India, which we have got feelers about the same from the management as well. Remember, we at ET Now has well interviewed the Tata Steel management, asking him about the Southeast Asian assets, and he has to say, wait and watch. So this is, of course, according to reports at this point. The stock is just about near the day's low. Okay, Kunal Bothra with us as well. And Kunal, a decent uptick witnessed in Axis Bank, not just today, but for the last couple of sessions.
Absolutely, Mubina. Fourth straight day of price gain, and in what style? From 50 DMA bounce, the stock was around that 600 mark just a week out back, and now it's climbed up to almost 660 plus levels. So even at these levels, most of the private sector banks and even Axis Bank for that regard, I think is they're looking very strong in terms of price momentum. Generally, that indicates that the stock could be ripe for a longer term breakout as well. So watch out for Axis Bank. I would suggest a buy with a very, very short term targets of 685, stop loss 645.
Okay, Kunal recommends a buy on Axis Bank. Moving on, Karanya, Infosys, the buzz of the buyback, it's now been announced by the company.
That's right. In fact, in December is when, early December rather, when the reports started surfacing about Infosys possibly announcing a buyback plan at their Q3 numbers, at the day of their board meet for the Q3 numbers, and that's exactly what has happened. They are considering issuing buyback and paying out a special dividend at their board meet, which is scheduled to happen on Friday, January 11th. Reports suggested that Infosys may go for a share buyback of up to $1.6 billion at this meet. The company will also announce its quarterly numbers. So clearly the stock is very much in focus on back of all these developments, plus an information on the buyback.
Well, 1.6 billion was as per reports. Let's see what the company announces on the 11th of Jan. Gaurav, Dilip, Buildcon, you have a bearish view here. What's the reason?
Yeah, sure. DVL is clearly in a downtrend from short-term as well as medium-term perspective. The stock recently formed a triangular pattern on the daily chart and has broken out on the downside. On the higher side, the stock has been facing resistance near its crucial daily moving average. So the daily momentum indicator is in line with the fall. So I'm expecting this stock to tumble back towards its October lows, which are somewhere around 365.
Okay, and it's a 5% downtick just in today's trading session. So that, let's talk about NIT Tech. Why are you flagging this one off?
Well, IT stocks, especially NIT Tech, is doing pretty well in today's trading session. 3% up, as you can see on your screen, highest point of the day. 17% rise in open interest Mubina. That's a formation of long position. Stock was taking support around its 200 DMA, which was actually flattening. And now there is a breakout which is taking place above this 1150 resistance mark, which is getting challenged. So breakout, moving about 200 DMA, formation of long positions, high volumes in cash and future segment are suggesting that the momentum in NIT Tech has just started.
And 3% higher today for NIT Tech. Kunal, RBL Bank, you have a buy here. What's the reason?
So yes, Mubina, I think RBL Bank has been trading in a sideways range for the last 2 weeks. But when you try and look at it in terms of indicators, and the most important one are the moving averages, the 50 DMA has started sloping up higher, and generally when that happens, you expect a consolidation to get over and the stock could break out on the upside. So I'm anticipating that RBL Bank could probably add on to all those private sector banks which have been rallying pretty thick and strong since last couple of days. Suggesting a buy with 605 as a target and stop loss at 555.
All right, keeping it with the banking space, then Indian Bank is something that we have on our radar. Remember that early in December they had announced about the fundraising plans via ESOPs. It's official now. The bank is going to be raising around 800 crore rupees via ESOPs and around 3,300 crore rupees via bonds in FY20. Today, however, the stock price is not reacting as it did earlier. It's down by about 1.5%. Karunya results candidate and officially kickstarting the Q3 numbers as always is IndusInd Bank.
That's right. The numbers are looking rather mixed, but it's mostly the exposure to IL&FS that's putting a bit of a pressure on the stock price as well. But profits, let's talk about the estimates. They could be flattish this time around, but we're expecting an NII growth of 23% year-on-year basis. Profits could be impacted, like I said, because of high IL&FS related provisions. Provisions are seen somewhere between 300 to 350 crores odd. But the reason why the stock is under pressure is also because now that the numbers are about to be released, there's a lot of buzz and a lot of chatter in the market regarding the fact that the exposure, rather the provisioning, could be much higher than what the street is expecting. Loan growth, however, we're looking at a strong one, 33 to 35% year-on-year. Deposit growth seen at 22% higher, and NII, like I said, to grow at somewhere between 24 to 26%.
Okay, 0.5% lower for IndusInd Bank, and yes, IL&FS exposure is something everyone's keenly watching out for. Stock number 9, and Gaurav, JSPL is seeing quite a sharp knockdown today, and you think this momentum could continue?
Yeah, definitely. JSPL is showing a setup which is attractive to initiate a fresh short position. In fact, the entire metal pack is looking weak. And talking about JSPL in particular, the stock has recently formed a three-wave pullback on the daily chart, which faced resistance near its crucial daily moving averages. And thereon, the stock is witnessing next round of selling when the daily momentum indicator is in bearish mode. So I'm expecting this stock to tumble down significantly, and on the downside, 141, 138 shall be the short to medium-term target area to watch out for.
Yeah, the metals complex certainly is going lower today in trade, one of the top sectoral losers. OMC's too, Siddharth, and you could attribute it to the rebound witnessed in oil prices.
Well, yes, that's one of the aspects. But when oil was correcting, we didn't see any major uptake also, Mubina. And what we are observing today in BPCL is fresh formation of short positions. Also, some of the key levels are getting reached. Volumes in cash markets are high, which means that it is not just short formation in futures, but someone is selling in cash market as well.
And we are near the day's low for a BPCL. Kunal, ICICI Pru, you have a buy here as well. Why would you recommend a buy to viewers?
So the stock, after weeks of sideways range, has today crossed its 50 DMA, and the volumes today so far is almost at par with the last, I think, 1.5 odd weeks of price volume days. So that indicates that today's breakout is on the back of some strong price action and strong volumes as well, and more or less it's been confirmed by many of the other peers as well, which are rallying in trade today. So I believe ICICI Pru could be a good bet at current levels as well. Targets of 345 and stop loss to be kept at 325.
All right, that's the view coming in on an ICICI Pru today is gaining about 3%. Take a look at Bharti Airtel meantime. Do remember that we have had quite a lot of positive commentary coming in on Bharti Airtel. In fact, we have CLSA that has maintained a buy just about in the end of November. They had a target of, or rather the beginning of December, CLSA had placed their target at 415 rupees. And now a month later, they are upping their target to 425 rupees. Some reasons cited by them and a key one, I suppose, for everyone in the telecom sector is going to be the ARPUs, the turn in the ARPUs on account of sector consolidation. They see inevitable turn in Indian mobile ARPUs per EBITDA, compelling valuations as well because of the fall in EBITDA, and hence they believe that the risk-reward ratio has turned favorable, and they do have a positive stance on Bharti Airtel. Of course, do remember that in the recent monthly numbers, Bharti Airtel did not lose as many subscribers as they did in the previous month. So I think best from the worst would be Bharti Airtel in terms of monthly subscribers. Kanya, yes, bank, important day today for the bank.
Absolutely, and with less than a month left for Rana Kapoor to stepped down as the CEO of the bank, and this pressure is only mounting on the board members to finally come together today and decide on who will be the contender, who will be the final candidate, who will be replacing Rana Kapoor at the helm of the bank. But yes, even if they may not finalize the name today, what we're expecting is at least to finalize on the top names and submit it to the RBI for final approval. So that's something that the board is likely to do in today's all-important board meet. So all eyes on this one and on further developments as far as the leadership of the bank is concerned.
Okay, that's of course Yes Bank for you ahead of the meeting, down by 0.6%. Gaurav, continuing with the metal names, sale as well is a sell for you.
Yeah, definitely. One can initiate a fresh short position in sale as well. On the hourly chart, the stock is showing an impulse on the downside, and the same has been retraced till 61.8% retracement mark. And from that golden ratio mark, the stock is now starting another set of impulse on the downside. So the daily momentum indicator is on the verge of a fresh sell signal. So one can definitely initiate a sell position in Steel Authority with stop loss placed at 55, and short-term target on the downside would be 49, whereas the medium-term target is placed at 45.
All right, so now keeping it with the metal and mining names, NMDC too, one of the top losers on the Nifty 500.
Well, 30,000 crore market cap company announcing a buyback of 1,000 crore has not excited this market, and buyback price is also not very significant. In fact, it was very near to the current market price. Current market price was around 94 or so, and 98 was the buyback price. So that has led to some disappointment. We are seeing fresh formation of short positions. Stock is heading towards its, or it has breached its important support of 92. And if it moves below 88 mark, then we will start talking about multi-year lows for NMDC.
Right, NMDC losing 4%. Okay, we'll do one thing. We'll take a quick breather right here on Market Fatafat. Come right back. We'll continue with the countdown. Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat, and without any further ado, let's continue with the countdown. Gaurav, Minda Corp today. Let's talk about that one because it's seeing a decline of more than 1.5%. What were your observations?
Minda Corp has been in recovery mode since the beginning of November. Stock is witnessing sharp recovery after a multi-month decline. On the daily chart, the stock is forming higher tops, higher bottoms, which is a bullish sign as per the Dow theory. When the daily and weekly momentum indicators are in bullish mode. So I think the rally is not yet over, and the stock has a potential to continue to climb till 167.
2% higher, pardon me. Minda Corp, that one's gaining, and in fact it's seen a sharp spike in the middle of the day today. ICICI Bank and more bullish notes continue to pour in. This time around it's Morgan Stanley that has maintained an overweight. Not just that, they've also upped their target all the way to 510 rupees from 460. They believe that the core earnings, according to them, is likely to top 20% over FY19 to 21. Because do remember, one thing to note here is foreign ownership in the bank is at a 15-year low. So there is some headroom over there as well. So that's ICICI Bank higher by just about 0.3%. Gaurav, you know, we were flagging off OMCs. BPCL is something Siddharth flagged off. Let's talk about HPCL. You don't seem to be very enthused by the stock price, HPCL.
Yeah, that's right. Basically, the stock has been facing resistance near 258, 260. It has faced resistance over there multiple times in the recent past, and even in this rise, the stock faced resistance over there, and from there it has turned its trajectory downwards. Now on the way down, the stock is now breaking its crucial daily moving averages. In fact, even the daily momentum indicator has already turned bearish. So I'm expecting this stock to fall back towards its daily lower Bollinger Band, which is placed near 221.
All right, moving on to the next stock, HDFC Bank. Siddharth, yesterday we did see a decline coming by. What are you observing today?
Well, yes, Mubina, yesterday we had seen formation of short position in HDFC Bank. Now mind you, we are talking about banking sector doing really well, and we all should know that HDFC Bank has highest weightage in Bank Nifty. So last 2-3 trading session, what momentum you are seeing in Bank Nifty is without HDFC Bank. Why? Because ICICI Bank, Axis Bank, all these stocks are doing really well. Yesterday there was formation of short positions. Today, not that stock is doing really well, it's up by 0.3% or so, but there is substantial build-up of 5 to 6%. 5 to 6% for HDFC Bank like a stock is quite high. Are these formation of short positions? Maybe, maybe not. Keep close eye on this stock because we are seeing very strong build-up and price action is not that positive. So one has to keep watch on it.
All right. So that's HDFC Bank for you. Moving on, Kunal, NCC, we've seen quite an uptick come back in the last 1 month from just about levels of 70 now to 90.
So yes, Movina, and interestingly, in this entire 2 weeks of sideways move, the stock has behaved in a very precarious kind of a manner, because it's not moved in volatile fashion, which is different to its nature, predominantly. And now it's nearing a breakout of this 90-91 band. So it's been taking resistance around this band for last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But I believe that with this persistent attempt towards breaking the resistance, the breakout could happen pretty soon. So NCC could be a buy in that regards. 96 to 98 could be a target range, and stop loss at 87.
Okay, so Kunal has a buy on NCC. Moving on, Coal India, and I think the sluggishness in the volume growth continues. Production growth has sputtered yet again for the month of December. Motilal Oswal nevertheless still has a buy, but they have cut the target price to 338 rupees from 354 rupees. They're also lowering the volume growth estimates, of course, on account of the weak monthly production numbers, and they're also cutting their earnings estimates by 5 to 7%. The stock price is more or less moving sideways. Karanya Bharti Infratel has seen tremendous buying coming in off late. What does the analyst meet takeaway say?
Well, there's a couple of things that the management has pointed out in their analyst meet. First up, saying that the merger with Indus is in the last legs of approval. They also said that tenancy exits from operator consolidations are now largely behind. They expect and hope to show positive tenancy growth going forward. And also, it will be driven mainly by coverage expansion. Densification of networks, they said, will be led by continued data volume growth, and each players are eventually likely to cross 300,000 tenancies. In the long run, the company sees multiple growth opportunities, including in the field of fiber sharing, small cells, data center, and even Wi-Fi offloading.
Okay, 1.8% lower today for Bharti Infratel. Gaurav, Sadbhav Engineering, why are you flagging this one off?
Basically, Sadbhav Engineering has a potential to form a multi-week basing pattern. The pattern is still in development stage, so that means the pattern can continue for few more sessions. And today the stock price registers near upper end of the pattern. So today's high of 240 shall now act as a crucial resistance going ahead. And structurally, the stock now has a potential to tumble back towards lower end of the pattern, which is placed near 200.
Okay, just about moving sideways. There was a bit of a spike seen after opening, but that has again been sold into. Siddharth, continuing with the metal story, Hindalco.
Well, yes, though it opened gap up today, Mubina, it was up by 1%, and as you can see on your screen, there is a continuous correction which is taking place in Hindalco. So from top, it's around 2.5% down in today's trading session. Yesterday too, we saw formation of short positions. Before that, also in Friday's trading session, stock was showing built up of shorts. So metal space is under pressure. Despite now we are seeing crude oil price going up, we are not seeing any traction taking place in base metal prices. And Hindalco is one stock which is leading the fall. And now it is challenging its 203 support level, which is near-term support level, and moving towards its strong support zone of 195-200.
1.2% lower for Hindalco. Kunal, over to you then for an Ajanta Pharma. What are you observing here?
Price may not give you an indication of what could probably happen into the stock price, in terms of intraday performance. But when you look at it over the weekly and the monthly charts, there was this downward sloping trend line going on since last 2 years. From 2,100, the stock had half, and now it's on the verge of breaking this downward sloping trend line. That could be a strong indication that this entire 2 years of downfall could probably get reversed, and the stock may start on a decent uptrend. So Ajanta Pharma could be something to look out for. 1200 is the breakout level for the stock price.
All right, and let's talk about the next stock, Ashok Leyland, where Kotak has a buy, but they've cut the target price to 150 from 170. Remember, the stock price as well has fallen quite a bit off late. In fact, it's up the 100 rupee mark for some time now. They have cut the target due to near-term demand weakness, but the commercial vehicle cycle downturn, according to them, is transient in nature. So they do expect growth to come back in FY20. The stock price is higher by 2.2%. But unfortunately, we'll have to call it a day on this edition of the show. So thanks to all of you for joining in. Gaurav, to you as well for giving our viewers a flavor of what exactly are your recommendations. We'll come back at 1:30 with a brand new edition.